Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. We'll give it a couple more minutes for everybody to stream in. But thank you for joining us on this webinar that's focused on Government Contracting 101. Okay, so I see everybody streaming in, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. So if you're here for Government Contracting 101 to learn everything you want to know about government contracting, you're in the right webinar. You're not in another webinar, so don't head out the door. My name is Brian Van Hook, and I'm Regional Director of the Small Business Development Center at Florida International University. I'm just really happy to be here today and to walk you through some really great information and resources. A little bit about me as we get started. Who is this guy talking to you? I mentioned I'm with the Small Business Development Center at FIU. Originally from Louisiana, but I've been here in Miami for almost 11 years. And I have 20 years of experience working in the federal government, both as a resource partner and also as an employee. And I previously worked in the United States Senate and also in the U.S. Department of Commerce. So I was able to work with businesses in terms of accessing government programs, in terms of doing business with the federal government, and also creating policy for the business community. So I'm bringing some good expertise from within the federal government to help you in terms of government contracting. And actually the photo up there, that's my C-SPAN moment. So it's not cool. I wouldn't tell my kids, but I was actually hearing in the Senate Small Business Committee that was focused on broadband. In terms of BizGap, real quick, BizGap is the Business Growth and Acceleration Program. And this is the program that we're operating this webinar under. BizGap is focused on the 27th Congressional District and is funded by a grant from the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA. So this grant specifically is focused on that 27th Congressional District that runs from downtown Miami, from Little Havana, Coral Gables, all over to Key Biscayne, all the way down to like Palmetto Bay, Cutler Bay. And the BizGap program is a program that we've run since 2016 around Miami-Dade County. It's focused on hyperlocal consulting, training, and outreach, really focused on targeted communities and really reaching businesses where they are. It's also another tool in the toolkit for communities that may not have the resources or staff to be able to assist their businesses. So we're able to come in and kind of work hand in hand with the local municipality, in this case, like the congressional district, and really meet businesses and help them access information and resources. And then, as I mentioned, the 27th Congressional District Project is focused on 3 core activities: training, outreach, and door-to-door canvassing, one-on-one business consulting, and then also doing data mapping and surveys of the businesses that are located in the 27th Congressional District. If you're not in Florida 27, don't worry, because we still are helping businesses in Miami-Dade County as well. But really, we're targeting a lot of the outreach and the focus and the consulting on District 27. And then our goal by the end of the year is to assist about 1,000 businesses in that particular district through consulting and also training and webinars like we're doing today. And then just a shout out to our BizGap team. We have 7 really highly specialized consultants under BizGap that are focused on helping the businesses to start, grow, and succeed. So they're really great. You'll probably see them in a lot of the other webinars and workshops too. And then I just want to shout out our wider Florida SBDC at FIU team in Miami-Dade. We have an additional 20 consultants that are under the Miami-Dade team, all specialists as well in different areas. And then I do want to shout out our sister program as well, the Apex Accelerator program. The Apex Accelerator is here locally. It also serves Miami-Dade County and the Florida Keys. It's formerly known as the PTAC program. It's funded through the Department of Defense. And the PTAC Apex program is consulting and training and information to help businesses to go after government contracts from DoD, federal government, state and local. So it's kind of like a sister program or a complementary program. And then in terms of the webinar, like what are you going to learn today? We are focused on businesses that want to grow through government contracting. I'm going to give you kind of like a really good strategy, which is called the 6-step gateway to successful contracting. Going to give you some really good opportunities in local Miami-Dade, also Florida Keys as well, if you're in Monroe County. We're going to give you some tips on business development and networking, and then give you some resources that can help you identify and secure government contracts. I would encourage you put in the chat who you are. I do see that we got some folks already responding in the chat. So put who you are, kind of what do you do? And then if you have any questions, as Jesus noted, please put them in the Q&A. So before we get into it, you really need to have like that gut check moment. You need to focus on if you're starting your business, you're growing your business without a single government contract, why should you get in a government contract? It is extra work. It's a lot more paperwork. You're not always guaranteed to get the contract. Sometimes there are delays from when you complete the work till you get paid. So you really need to have like a dedication to it and also have a good game plan. And that's part of the reason what we're doing today is to give you some good strategies and resources. And then the reason why the federal government has to contract is because they're their own employees, but they don't make anything. So basically they need a lot of things, like we always say, tanks, software, pencils, event planning, healthcare, food services. These are all things that private providers provide to federal government and the federal government employees. Also state and local as well. Just as an example, in 2020, state governments spent about $1.7 trillion directly, and local governments spent about $1.8 trillion. And then in 2022, the federal government did about $694 billion on contracts. That's a billion with a B. So basically the key question to ask yourself is, are government agencies, whether that's federal, state, or local, are they buying what you're selling? Are they buying your product? Are they buying your service? And then I'm a big believer in life as well as in professional and business is to work smarter, not harder. So with that in mind, we're talking about the 6-step gateway. We did kind of structure a lot of the advice we're going to give you around this gateway because it is a good framework to really plan. So you're focusing on evaluating whether government contracting is right for you, making up a really good plan, getting the right registrations, which is like sam.gov, getting other things in terms of local government like Demand Star. You're developing your marketing tools. You're getting relevant certifications. You're going to find those opportunities and go after them. And then you're going to basically win the contracts, conduct the work, and then go get more business. So it is good. It's basically 6 steps. And you're going to see all the different information we'll give you. It is under those things. So first, under evaluation. Like I said, you need to have that gut check moment. Is government contracting right for you? Business to government can be expensive. There's a lot of competition depending on what your product and service is. So you can't just go in and just get something off the street. You really have to do your homework. You have to identify particular strengths that you have and really lean in on where you can compete and secure these contracts. I do always kind of give people the caution and say, more likely than not, you're not going to get a $20 million NASA contract right off the bat. But it can be done. We've actually had clients that have got Department of Defense contracts right after, like within 2 to 3 months of starting their business. So it can be done. So I don't want to discourage you, but I do like to manage expectations. So what I would like to do is just go over some of those things that you need to like think about before you get into government contracting. So some of the questions to ask yourself is like, what size contracts can you handle? How many proposals can you really handle in terms of submitting things? How much growth are you willing to go through and can you handle? Like, for example, do you really want to hire more people? Do you want to manage more people? Do you want to deal with all the HR related to that? Do you want to deal with more payroll, more reporting, more different things for your business? Can your business really grow, like scale up? In terms of the product or service that you provide, can you provide more products and services that you can create and actually deliver to this government agency? A lot of businesses tend to oversell. They really want to just get that contract and they say, oh yeah, I can make you this much stuff. But then when you get into it, it's really a lot more than they were planning on in terms of being able to provide the additional services that they're going to offer or the products. So you really need to think through that. And then, we have the smiley face up there. What if you win the contract? Congratulations. That's awesome. Can you deliver on it? If you lose the contract, can you basically lose the contract and not lose your business? As you say, don't lose your shirt if you lose the contract. You need to be able to walk away. It's like that song from, I think it's Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them and when to walk away, at a card game. You basically got to know when you're going to do it and being able to walk away without completely derailing your business. Like walking away, like when the proposal is due. Have a strategy on this particular contract or the contracts you're going after. How does that fit into your overall strategy on growing your business? So you want to basically get one and make that like one rung of the ladder, keep climbing up, or like a stepping stone. You really want to lean in with your strengths. So what is your niche? What is your target market? This is a lot also when you're looking at just general marketing for your business. You're going to think about these type of things like what's your niche, what's your strong, what makes you different than the competition. A lot of these things are things that you would think about in government contracting too. Specific to government contracting though is like your past performance, your past experience. What have you done that could foretell what you're going to do for these agencies? They really want to see because they want to know that you're going to be able to deliver and not just get the contract and then walk away. And then they're stuck trying to find somebody to do the work. Geography is a good area to focus on. Socioeconomic status, which we're going to get into some of the certifications. Small business, if you're a small business, that is something you can lean in on. And then also, who do you know? Do you have contacts? Can you meet people at trade fairs or outreach events and things like that? Can you get connected to be able to know more about these contracts you're going after or these agencies? And don't think about what the contracts are going to get you, but you need to think about what it's going to cost you. Like, what's the impact for your business, good or bad? So let's talk about planning. Like I said, the reality for most businesses is that they don't get a DoD contract right out the gate. They don't get a NASA contract right out the gate. But I don't want to discourage you. That could happen depending on your business and what stage you're at. But most of the businesses do follow like the regular strategy of start small, start local. You basically start with, instead of going to Washington, D.C. and getting a Department of Defense contract, you say, hey, I'm in Doral, let me go for City of Doral, or let me go for Miami-Dade County, or maybe let me try state of Florida. So you do really focus on starting small, starting local, and really build up your past performance on what you can do. It's kind of like building up your resume, getting experience for your business so that you can basically scale up to larger contracts. There are opportunities that you can team with other businesses, or you can be a subcontractor to a prime contractor and get experience that way. There's a couple of different ways to do it, but essentially you're growing your capacity, your financial, your HR, your staff, also your operations, and you're working your way up to be able to handle larger contracts. So that is the way that most successful government contractors work. Like we said, past performance. Past performance is information on what you've done as a contractor under previous contracts and orders. It's used as an indicator of how you're going to perform in the future. So this is one of the most relevant factors when considering awards or for contracts from these procurement officials, that they're pulling out your capability statement and your information out of like, tens of hundreds of thousands of applications. So this is what sets you apart. Think about it like your resume. If you're applying for a job, you really want the kind of experience that's going to set you apart from the other candidates that are applying for the same job. In terms of teaming that we mentioned, teaming is where a group of small businesses work together on a particular project. It's where you can pool resources, experience, technical knowledge, to secure the contract and perform. It's kind of like where somebody might have something that you don't. Like you have experience on this, but they don't have experience on that. So you guys work together, where you kind of team up to make up for deficiencies in your different companies. But it's like you pull the resources, the experience, to make you more competitive in the bidding process. It's a good opportunity, especially for small businesses. I would say for teaming, for joint ventures, even for subcontracting, it is like a marriage. So you need to be careful who you're getting into business with and make sure that they're people you can work with and that there's not, anything sketchy with those businesses, because if they're sketchy normally, they're probably going to be sketchy when they're working on that contract, and that can impact you. Joint ventures are basically where they kind of do discuss it with teaming, but they're different things. A joint venture is where two or more companies come together by forming a new separate legal entity to jointly perform on a government contract at the prime contract level. Joint venture requirements must be met in order to comply with those regulations, which include like self-performance requirements, pre-qualifications, proof of that you are a small business, among those other things. So we did want to provide you information not just on teaming, but also on joint ventures. That could be an option. In terms of targeting, targeting is what you're going to do to really narrow down what type of opportunities you want to look for. You want to start by searching for your particular industry. At the end of the day, it could be a huge number, and you also want to make sure that when you're looking by your industry, there's going to be multiple industry codes, like they're called NAICS, NAICS codes. These NAICS codes could be a lot of things. Like you could be somebody that grows peanuts, but then you could also be a manufacturer of peanuts, or you could do, peanut drinks or something like that. You could do some like multiple areas, just like you could sell air conditioners. You could, fix air conditioners. You could service, external air conditioners. So you could basically have multiple industry codes beneath that. So there could be multiple areas. But again, like you're going to hear me say a couple of times, don't oversell and don't be jack of all trades, master of none. Don't say you can do everything under the sun and the moon and the stars. You really need to narrow down on what your sweet spot is and what you can actually do, because these procurement officers will sniff through that. They'll see it and they'll know that you can't handle that. When you look at the huge number that comes back, you're going to start narrowing it down by stuff that's unique to your particular business. Are there small business set-asides? Is there things that are certifications like an 8A, like a hub zone, like a women-owned, like a veteran? We talked about geography. Can you break it down by particular geographic areas like Florida, like South Florida, like Miami, like Texas? Then you get into like past performance and past experience. Those are things that you can get into as well. One of the things I'm a big proponent of is forecasts and looking at past awards. Those are ways that you can kind of see what agencies are going to buy like in the next year, in the next 2 years. So you can actually kind of get your business ready to be able to go after that. And you can actually identify like who's the procurement officer. Can I reach out to them now where they can actually talk to me? Or I can look up who has the current award that's going to expire. Like what's the profile of that business? How does that compare with me? Past awards is stuff that they put on the past. That way you can look up those type of key questions like what are they buying? How do they buy it? What is the time of year they buy it? Is it every September? Is it every October? What amounts do they buy? Is it really worth my time to waste focusing on that? Is it too big for me to go after? Do they set aside particular contracts for particular industries or particular types of businesses? Also, we'll get into later, are they hitting their small business goals? So are they actually providing contracts to small businesses? If they are, maybe it's a good reason for you to work with them. If they're not, that also could be a good reason because they need business like you to help them meet their goals. For the targeting, you're really going to look for those key agencies, those procurement contacts, and are they putting out any requests for proposal workshops or any vendor outreach events? That's a way for you to meet people virtually over Zoom or Teams or something, or actually meet them in person out in the community. So those are ways that you can get more information on what's coming up. A lot of times when they have those type of outreach events, they will have like a list. They'll say, these are the type of things these are the contracts that are like open now, or these are the contracts we're going to be putting out and then in the next 6 months. So you can really get some good information at those type of events. Okay, so let's get into like the different levels. For government contracting, there's 4 basic levels of contracting. There's federal government, state government, county government, and city government. Despite what you might think, most people are like, it's more prestigious federal government. People can have a very successful business just working with a city or cities, or working with a county, or working with the state. You don't have to always just go for federal. It just depends on your business and what works best for you. So like I said, basically one is not more profitable than the other. It just depends on what the agencies are and what they're advertising. So the federal government might have huge contracts for defense, and these are great for defense contractors, but a city government or a county, they might be looking for things like water, or like we're talking about later about fixing their grizzlies. So they might have particular things that are different types. So what they do recommend is that you register at least like sam.gov, Demand Star, like the types of different levels. Register at all the different levels because it's impossible to know where the best project for your firm might be advertised, and you have a couple of options. So now that we got through some of those common terms, let's get into how you can search at the different levels. So how can you like narrow down your search for federal government, state, local? So like I said, for Florida, basically there's 67 counties in the state of Florida, and there's 5 municipalities in Monroe County. I think there's like at least 50 or 60 in Miami-Dade. The example I'm going to use is the city of Miami. So if you go to the city of Miami's website, you're going to look up for business, or you're going to look up for procurement opportunities. Whenever I clicked on it, they have basically this different website. It used to be called BidSync, now it's Periscope, but this is where you can basically get on and look up different solicitations. And so you do have to register your business, but you can register for free. I was able to look up the solicitations, but I couldn't get some of the more detailed information because you do have to register on there to access it. But it depends on the city. Some of them use Periscope, some of them use Demand Star, some of them have different things. So it just depends on the particular municipality you're looking for. But when you click on this website, that's what you're going to see. You do see the contact information as well, that they have a Department of Procurement. So those are where you can go if you have questions or if something's not working. When you click on the solicitation, this shows you a couple of solicitations. So you'll see basically it's one of them is more like an IT looking job. One of them is for police radars, laser equipment, repair. So basically I guess looks like the guns that they catch people speeding on. And one of them was like for procurement. The one that I pulled up, this one looked interesting because it was for the like laser equipment, police radars. So it just shows you the information. You'll see like on the left side is what's the solicitation number, what's the date, when does it end? And that's very important because you have a number of businesses that will really get very in-depth into a particular contracting opportunity, but they didn't look that it closes. So you want to read everything that's in the solicitation. What is the font? What is the deadline? Is it 12:30 on a Monday? You know, do you need to have it in? Is it Eastern time? Is it Central time? Is it Pacific time? You need to check all those little things because sometimes you'll miss out on a really great opportunity if you don't check everything that's in the solicitation and what they're requiring. So you really want to pay attention to that. You'll see on the right side, basically, this is where they talk about what the work is going to be, what they're looking for. They talk about that you're not required to have a bid bond or performance bond. And then they have all the different uploads. It says basically they'll accept it in a PDF. They won't accept any other formats. So you can't do Excel, you can't do Microsoft Word. And then also your package can't be more than 500 megabytes in size. You have to split it in multiple files if it's more than 500 megs. On that, I don't know, maybe you had a lot of pictures or something that it would be that big. So those are the type of things that you should look for. But you can, if you log in, then you can see more specifications on what's the size of the contract, what is it, so those are things that you want to look for. But that's an example here. That's a contract at City of Miami that's on the street that's available now. For Miami-Dade County, I did just want to point out Miami-Dade County also has contracts that are available. This is where I went on the Small Business Division website and was able to look up some of the contracts. These are ones that are current construction solicitations that are available. I mean, you see there's a number of them ranging from like road bridge replacement, you know, doing playground replacement, those type of things, mold and mildew remediation. So it covers a bunch of stuff. The one that I did pull up, which was really random, that I thought was a good one to use as an example, is it was like about grizzly furnishing and installing grizzlies. So when I think grizzlies, I think about grizzly bears, but apparently not. Apparently Grizzly is a crane that you use for waste management. So what the contractor is asked to do is to basically furnish and install Grizzly cranes. So you have to basically get rid of the current ones, install 2 new ones. They're manufactured by the Grizzly Corporation, and they want to put them at the West Transfer Station. And then they did say, look at the scope of work and the bid documents for more details. And then they did put some of the technical certifications like general building contractor, electrical contractor, structural. And then you see right there is like the bid package that you can click on. And then I did click on it, and this is what it looks like, where they do talk about basically who is the agency that's doing it, what's the contract number, notes a lot of the stuff, what's the date for it. See where it says August 30th is a deadline at 2 o'clock. And then they do list the contact there with his phone number. And if you look in there, then it talks about the scope of work. So this is actually a $500,000 contract. Talks about the scope of work was similar to what we talked about previously. You're going to basically email in the package. It does have the email address. It notes all those type of things. They have a fax number too. And you required insurance. You do need to have a bid bond. You need to have a performance bond, but answered a lot of the questions. So pretty straightforward in terms of what they're looking for. In terms of the state of Florida, so we mentioned there's local, so I did county and I did a city. We're going to talk about the state of Florida. The state of Florida, the big website for that is My Florida Marketplace. That's where you register, and it's a simple process. Basically, you just need to prove that you're registered in Florida, and then choose the products or services that you are looking to sell to them, and then you can kind of keep moving forward. So it's a pretty straightforward website. There are groups such as SBDC, such as BizGap, that can help you if you do have any trouble or any difficulties registering for any of these certifications or registrations. In terms of federal government contracts, the big website to register for the federal government is kind of like Uncle Sam, sam.gov. SAM is the system for award management. Basically, you're going to get a 2-step process for that. You're going to get your unique entity ID, and then you're going to apply. When you finish the registration, you're going to get a CAGE code, and the CAGE code is like your federal vendor number. So you need to have basically that unique entity ID and also your CAGE code to kind of apply for all these contracts. So a lot of businesses basically completed the SAM registration and have the CAGE code, but that doesn't mean that you're registered for like state contracts, county, or cities. Basically, that's only for the federal government. The registrations, I want to stress, are free in terms of federal government. There's no monthly, yearly charges to maintain your registration. If somebody's trying to charge you for this, just know that they're not the government. These are registrations. These are things that you should be able to do on your own. If there are any difficulties you have or you're not sure about something, there's programs such as SBDC, such as Apex. There's other programs in the community as well. Definitely take advantage of these because these are always offered at no cost. So they can help you kind of navigate some of these different systems. So let's talk about business development. You want to basically prepare. I'm not going to read it 5 times, but you want to prepare your business to go after government contracts. You want to basically network. You want to outreach. You want to make connections. You want to basically get the right people on your radar and that you know who they are so that you can get these contracts. So one of the things you can ask is you can ask for previously awarded contracts that are similar in the scope of service that you can do. That is a way for them to kind of give you something that you can work from to show like, hey, these are things that were relevant in your particular area. One of the things you can do, SBDC does offer some of these webinars, but there are other ones in the community as well, is proposal writing courses, cost estimating classes. If you don't want to take the classes, there is software programs that you can purchase that can help you with that. One of the things to organize a lot of these contracts or requests for proposals is you can just use an Excel spreadsheet. You can even use Word if you want to. Excel is more efficient in this aspect, but you can basically track and forecast contracts that are similar in scope. And I know that there are a couple of templates out there that are available. There's also different matrices and things that you can pay for. So just game it out what it's worth to you to put it together. But it does help to like start organizing it in terms of contracts that you're seeking or tracking. And then one of the other things is like we looked at one of the requests for proposals. You do want to dive into the proposal and see what are they going to score. So you want to make sure that the things that you're putting in are hitting the boxes that they're looking to check. So that way you can score the highest you can. I would encourage you to, if you're not successful with the contract, you can ask for a debrief and find out why you didn't score well. Was there any deficiencies in your application? These are things you can ask for afterwards. You're not going to get like 5 hours with them, but those are things that you can ask to get like a readout if you're not successful with the proposal, because it's going to make your next one even better. In terms of business development, there's 3 things that you really want to have ready to go when you're meeting with these procurement officials. One of them is a capability statement, a cap statement. One of them is an elevator pitch, and one of them is your business cards. So you want to be able to have it. You can even be more efficient now to have like the one that's the QR code that they can scan, or have some of those different programs. But you want to have those 3 things: a cap statement, an elevator pitch, and your business cards. Specific to a capability statement, as I mentioned kind of previously, this is the resume for your business. So this is basically a 1-page document focused on what your business has done, what you can do, and what you have done. It wants to get specific information to potential customers that want to do business with you. When it's written well, it's going to differentiate your business from the competition. There are a number of examples that I put in the back to show you how to write those. And I've seen some that are 2 pages. Most of the ones I see are 1 page. But you put kind of in the corner like all your certifications. You'll note some of the experience you have, and then kind of some of your core unique things that make your business unique. So these are the points that you want to focus on, like your core competencies related to supplies and services, anything on facilities and equipment that sets you apart. As we said, expertise. You want to put all your relevant information like your CAGE code, your NACE codes, your DUNS number, any certifications that you have, any customers that you have that are big or noteworthy. You want to put in basically what's the contract information as well. So you put like Department of Defense, $1 million, or City of Doral, $35,000. Like I said, I've seen it mostly 1 page. You can use both sides if you want to, or you can make it like a trifold, but don't make it like 10 pages. People aren't going to read that, and it's going to set you apart in the wrong way. I did include some information up here on capability statements. I do refer to the Georgia PTAC or the Georgia Apex because they have a really good website that has a lot of good information. And I would mention to you guys, we will send you a copy of this presentation afterwards. So be on the lookout for that because we'll send you the PDF that you can look at on your own time. I did put the HHS one for the federal government, and then also there was a good one, I think it was from Ohio, on how to write a capability statement. When we're talking about elevator pitches, it is just like you sound. If you're in an elevator with somebody who could give you a potential contract or help your business, are you ready like in 30 seconds to give them like, who are you and what's your business? So you want to basically practice it in front of a mirror so that you can do it on a moment's notice. You don't have to be the best public speaker. You don't have to be like a big hustler. You just want to be able to like say something very concise and sum up what your business is doing. What the elevator pitch does is it covers who you are and what you are, what do you specialize in, what do you do, why you're the best at what you can do, and also what do you want? Like get to it. Don't dance around it. Like what do you want from them? Like the call to action. What you can do is write like a paragraph on each of those bullets and then cut it down so it's concise, like less than 30 seconds. Like I said, where you can just rattle it off. By the time you've done it a bunch of times, you're going to be like a pro at it. You're going to know how to do it and just move really quick. Make sure it's conversational. Don't sound like a robot. Don't be too technical. Don't be weird in the delivery. You want to practice enough where it's like second nature to you to say it. Like we said, practice it in front of a mirror and memorize it where you can do it at a moment's notice. If it's easier for you to memorize it, do it, make it smaller and more concise, where you can just do kind of like 1, 2, 3. You know, number 1, I'm here. Number 2, here's what we're gonna do. Number 3, here's what I need from you. Like those type of things. Just be really concise. As we said, federal government, state government, local government, they're not always sitting behind a desk. They're out in the community. They're trying to connect with new vendors. You should only go to these events if you're going to do the proper preparation beforehand and follow up. When I worked in the federal government and in the Congress, most of the businesses that would come up would have particular expertise or different things, but generally businesses would not do the proper follow-up. So they wouldn't be prepared when they got in the meeting and be able to get to what they needed from us. And then after the event or after the meeting, they wouldn't follow up in a timely manner or in the right way. So for me, it was like a missed opportunity. And that really reflects poorly on the business if you don't do a good presentation when you meet with a government official, and also if you don't follow up. So choose the right events. Don't go to something you're not going to be able to follow up on, or you're not ready to like hit the ground running. So make sure, because time is money. Like we said, don't go to an event if you haven't done your research. Who are the key contacts you want to meet with? Are there any contracts you're interested in? And also do the follow-up. Have like a good template that you can send after the meeting where you can like personalize it for that particular person that you met with so they can talk about your business and what you can do. And then I did have like 14 tips that were coming from the Georgia PTAC. Number 1 is establish some objectives. What do you want to get out of this event? Think about these type of opportunities and be prepared on how you represent a solution to the government's problems. Identify who's going to be there and research as much as you can so that when you go to them, you can say, hey, you're going to put out this contract on this, or you've already done these contracts a couple of years ago. You know, make sure you're aligned with them. Game out the location, see who's there, where's the event details, or is there any competitors there? Maybe you can watch them and see what they're doing. Have marketing materials, have business cards, have fact sheets, you know, your capability statement, have everything with you. Be prepared to talk about it. Also, have pricing, like what can you handle? You know, what are you going to do? That's when we talked about those estimation classes on that. Also look at the competitors. How are other people acting at there? Who are they talking to? What are they doing? Are they doing something different? Do they have, you know, a QR code? You know, are they passing this out? Are they talking to this person? Like, what are you doing? In terms of your elevator pitch, practice it. Don't waste people's times. Focus on the objective and what you want to do. Don't go to the event if you're unprepared. I've said that a bunch of times. Wear comfortable shoes, dress to impress. You know, put your best foot forward, pun intended. Like we said, look at your competitors. How are they selling? What is their marketing strategy? Anything you can learn from. Grab their business card, grab their capability statement. Following up, as I said, people don't follow up. So you want to get all the business cards, write them a note, write them an email. You know, we talked about this, you know, I know you love to come to Florida for fishing. You know, I know that you said you were interested in this particular type of business. You know, write yourself a report on those lessons learned. Also understand for government contracting, there's a time when they cannot speak with you. It's called like the cone of silence. And there's other times when they can speak to you. So just be aware of that because it does reflect badly on you and your business if you're not attuned to that particular period. And that's pre-solicitation, post-award. Like we said, it's inappropriate to initiate contact with the contracting officer after the comment period on a solicitation is closed or when the bid proposals are under evaluation. So you don't want to see that. A lot of times they'll set up like a general Q&A thing, or you can email questions and they'll kind of post them all on a particular website, or they'll put them out. So just look in the solicitation for what they're spelling out on what's the proper protocol, what's the guidance, those type of things. And then just some bonus tips, like, you know, they always say you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Be professional. At this point, if your business is a larger business and has been around for a while, you should not be using Yahoo or Gmail accounts. You should have like your own website, an email address that's coded or kind of like tied to your website. Check for any typos in your email. on your website. You know, that happens to everybody. Nowadays, there's, you know, AI and, you know, different chats and things like that that can double check your typos. So you want to take advantage of that. Like I said, don't be jack of all trades. Focus on what you really can provide a solution on. Lead with your expertise. And then you want to kind of be focused on risk mitigation, overcoming obstacles. You don't want to be a problem. And then, like I said, we will send you a copy of this presentation, but I did provide you with another webinar that was from the Florida PTAC on doing business with state and local governments. There was another one that was a really good one that was available via PDF. That's some resources. I did put information for Monroe County. We will put information for Miami-Dade as well. But just trying to cast a wide net for business opportunities. And then like call to action, I would encourage you guys to follow us. So these are our social media handles on, you know, Instagram, Twitter, or X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We do have post up information on that, on BizGap events, on opportunities, on funding opportunities, and things like that. So would encourage you guys to definitely follow us. And then we'll lead into the questions. So Jesus, I'll stop sharing. And then if you want to give me some questions.
Yes, Brian. All right. So the past performance outside of government areas, are they valid?
Yes, private sector experience is valid. You can use that. And for a lot of businesses, they think, well, how am I supposed to get my first government contract if I can't get government contracting experience? So you can translate success in the private sector to local, state, or federal government contracts. So definitely you can.
And what is the website again for the city procurement?
Jesus will include that in the follow-up email. For the city of Miami, it's kind of, you go to their main webpage. I think it's City of Miami /procurement, but I don't want to confirm it. But Jesus, we can send that in the email the follow-up email you can send, and it'll be like the direct link to where to go. But for most of those cities or most of those counties or federal or state, you're going to go to their website and it's going to be like doing business with whoever. You click on that, or it's going to have like a business section. For cities and municipalities, they usually do lists like business, and it's like to incorporate your business or pay your local taxes. But those websites usually do also lead into the like getting a contract. So those do kind of have links to the different contracts.
Do you have to register with each city individually?
Yes, they do have some of those aggregators like DemandStar. So how some of those work is DemandStar, you can register for one city for free. If you do want to register for multiple cities, then you would need to like get a registration and have like a license. So I know for some of those, like I just double checked for DemandStar, you can go in and get DemandStar. You can basically register. I think for some of those subscriptions, it's as low as like $35 a year. Obviously, if you want more advanced ones that they email you, you know, solicitations and things, it's a lot more expensive. But you should look at it. But you can register for one particular city for free. And then if you do want multiple cities, like you're going after multiple bids, then at that point you probably would want to pay for it. And they do have different tiers. Some tiers are like local government, some are state government, some are federal government. So you just need to like double check in terms of where you're looking for contracts.
And how long to obtain a CAGE code?
For that one, we'll double check. I know that some of those things can be pretty quick. For some of the things with the federal government, there is a little bit of a delay. So we'll mark that down, Jesus, and we'll confirm like how long it usually takes to get the CAGE code.
Yep.
Because I want to make sure I get them the right information.
And then okay, it's a long question right here. So how do I know if an entity is looking for my specific area in business, which is management, consulting, and coaching? I haven't found any active solicitations.
So I think that's a good one. I think that you might be looking very narrow, because under those particular things, there are a couple of ways you could look at that particular opportunity. It could be under consulting services. It could be under like leadership training. It could be under professional services. So depending on the federal, state, or local government you're looking for, it could be coded different ways. So that's why when you're looking to kind of set out your industry, you might put it under different things. So it is good that you're very specific on what you're looking for. But I'd say sometimes for businesses, that's where they miss it, is it's under professional services, not consulting services, or it's under consulting services, but it's not specific to that. So you would look at that. And for the federal government, they do have a lot of leadership training, professional development, those type of things. I see Marquita was noting about project management. There is project management on there, whether it's managing a particular project, whether it's basically like developing skills for project management. So there are opportunities related to that. You just want to look it up. I would say for project management, I think that you would have to have some other expertise outside of just project management. So if it's construction, if it's something else, you would want to look into that type of thing. So it wouldn't just be project management, it would be specific to a product or service.
Is it common for businesses to have access to several portals around the state to keep up with all open RFPs?
Yeah, so like we said, you register for SAM.gov for the federal government, you register for My Florida Marketplace for the state of Florida, and then you have different municipalities or counties around the state that you might go for. So at the end of the day, you can basically what I would do as a secret is you can register. So let's say, for example, you're going to a particular city, like you saw, City of Miami was on Periscope. So from how I've seen it done is you can register on Periscope for City of Miami. You could get on Demand Star for another city. That way you can get those free. But if you're going to go for like 2 under Periscope or 2 under Demand Star, then you would need to pay for it. But those are opportunities. But I think once your business starts looking for a lot of contracts, or you start getting more successful, that is when you do want to start taking more seriously and actually pay for a subscription, because you can look up like multiple bids and cities and things like that. But yeah, you should register at every level you can.
And then as a segue, with that comment, where do I apply for state and local contracts?
Like we said, for the state, it's My Florida Marketplace, which we did outline that website. For local contracts, you would look up what particular city or county you're looking to do business with, and you would see what is their particular platform, or how do you get contracts with them.
So can I register in those sites so whenever a solicitation is out for a service close to my business, I can receive an alert? And then because I've also registered at the Doral site, but now I receive all different types of solicitations way outside my business scope or area.
For that one, you might want to go in and maybe you double check your email preferences or what you're looking for. You might be able to put in some filters so that it basically goes to different areas.
Yeah. Let's see if there's additional question. Perfect. Okay, you're welcome. And then on top of that, Brian is also going to be doing several other government contracting presentations throughout the summer. So definitely everyone that has been registered here, I'll manually will be able to register you for that webinar. So like that, it's carry on the conversation, enhancing to provide you additional tools for your tool belt, for you to be successful on that front as well. And then if there's any way that we can do to assist you, just shoot us an email, because you get the contracts, now you need some capital assistance, marketing your business. Don't hesitate, we're family, we're more than happy to assist you on that front as well. So Brian, I'll let you with the closing thoughts.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jesus. You had like the awkward pause, so I thought you were like wrapped up. So, but that's where the teamwork is. That we've done this a few times. For me, we're really happy to help you in terms of getting into government contracting, or if you have already got a contract and you want to obtain more contracts. As Jesus said, we will be doing some additional webinars on government contracting under BizGap. We will also have a lot of really good webinars on other areas such as access to capital, marketing, different areas like that. So definitely stay tuned. We do hope to see you in future webinars and trainings. And also just feel free to reach out if the BizGap team or SBDC at FIU, if we can help you in any way to grow your business. And just thanks again for your time on that, and look forward to seeing you in the next event.
Take care, everyone.
All right, take care.